What's going on, guys? We are back today. I'm gonna show you guys how to install a subwoofer in an amp. It's really easy, and I've seen a lot of videos out there that just kind of make it, I don't know if you'd say complex, but they are pretty complex. So I'm pretty much just gonna break it down, show you guys what I did with mine. Other than that, let's get started. So this is how I have mine set up. I have my sub in the trunk there. It's a 15-inch JL audio subwoofer with a Infinity 2800 watt amp, I believe. So as you can see, my box doesn't quite fit that clearance on the roof right there above right here under this trunk. So unfortunately, this box is going to take up pretty much my entire trunk. So after you figure out where you're going to put your sub box and everything, when I do this, I usually I don't mount my amp to the box until I have all my wiring done, just so I know my lengths and everything, where everything's gonna fit, where it fits best. So that's gonna be the first thing you want to do. Second thing you want to do to make it pretty simple, I guess, you can go and buy an amplifier wiring kit. You can get them anywhere. I think I got mine at Walmart. I have the Boss. It's like a 2600 watt. So what that pretty much consists of is you have your ground wire here, you have a remote wire here, and your power wire here. These are your aux cables, which you're going to connect into into your aftermarket radio if you have one. And then you got your speaker wire coming down into inside the box where the sub is, and it's going to connect into those ports. For my car, I had a aftermarket radio already installed, so all of your RCAs and your remote wire, if you have an aftermarket radio, can go into the radio itself. See, I have my aux cables going in there, and then my remote wire is also connected where that blue wire is in there. It's kind of hard to see, but if you do not have an aftermarket radio, you're gonna have to tap your wires into a line output converter, which I can also show you. Either way, I mean, if you have a aftermarket radio or just a stock radio, I mean, they're both pretty simple. This is what you'll need. It's called a line output converter, and what this basically does is you splice into these wires into your stock, either a stock subwoofer if your car's got one, or you can actually tap into all the door speakers to bring your output into the amp. So if you have it that way, you have a stock radio and you need one of these, which you can get these at Walmart or Meijer again. They pretty much have all the stuff that you need for this, which is kind of funny, but if you have that, you're gonna splice these into your stock speakers, and then pretty much what this does is it gives you your port for your auxes to go into here to your stock radio. First thing that I always do when I'm doing this, say this car, for example, because we're doing it on it, I always wire my remote line, which again is that blue wire going in there. I always wire that first because if you don't have your remote hooked up, there's not going to be any power to the amp. What the remote wire does is it actually puts a signal to the amplifier for, let's say, if you want to, how I have mine is when the radio cuts off, the amp is going to cut off. You can do it a way where you connect that remote into your fuse box, but I don't like to do that. It's kind of rigged. It kind of looks, it's not so good, but I did have to do that with my old car. For example, in that case, I had it in my ignition. Whenever I turned my ignition off, it would cut my amp off. So the red wire, power wire, is going to come through. I have it going through in this, and it actually comes out on the bottom there. And you can see that red wire. Let's see if I can get it in there and show you. So this red wire is going to the positive terminal right there on the battery. Now my ground wire, which is this wire right here, is also coming through, and I have it coming through this hole, and I actually have it right here on this part. It's pretty loose. I think I'm gonna have to fix that here pretty soon, but you want to grind that down so you have a bare metal surface so it gets a good contact point. Wire, which is your remote line, which I have that going up through the car into the back of my aftermarket radio. So when you're running your cables from your amp to the front of your car to your radio, you're gonna hide the wires. You can kind of see one right here. You're gonna hide them in this paneling down here and stuff them up in here, and that's how I did it. See, you can see these, my remote wire and my aux wire, which are both going to my aftermarket radio, are going to then go into the aftermarket amp. You're going to run them all the way up into the front of the car, into pretty much after you get your remote wire connected, which is going to be first, which I always do first, just so I have a start point for which wire I'm going to do first, this and that. You're going to do remote wire first, ground wire second, and power wire third. That's how I've always done it. I mean, people will probably correct me on that, but I've had no problems doing that, and that's how I was also taught how to do it. One time it's going to be just one of those things where it's like, alright, boom, bang, done. It's going to take you half the time the second time you do it. It's really simple. I know it can seem pretty complicated with all the wiring and just wiring in general. That kind of spooks people. Once you start getting electrical issues on, cars, it's going to be pretty expensive. Alrighty, so again, guys, you will only need this line output converter if you are using the stock stereo in the car. You again are going to use these 4 wires. You're going to splice them into the cars if you want to do, if your car has a stock subwoofer in the back deck of the rear seats, which is what I did with my old CTS. Made it really easy. You can do that. Or you can just splice literally right into the door speakers of the car. It depends how much power you're going to be running. I would start off with the 2 rear door speakers to see where your sub is hitting and how much it is hitting. And then from there you can go and do your all 4 your speakers if you need to. Alrighty, guys, so once you get everything hooked up, you can go on to test to make sure you have everything wired correctly. If it doesn't power on, there's a few things that I would check. I would check to make sure you got your fuses in your amplifier. Make sure those fuses are good, because sometimes those do blow while you're installing these. A second thing, when you get your power wire hooked up, you want to be very, very sure that you hook up that internal fuse that goes through the power wire. Your kit will come with that. You just cut your power wire and stick them into either sides of that fuse. You want to make sure you have that. If not, hopefully your car doesn't catch on fire. Another thing I would check for is, with this radio, when I first installed mine, I had everything set up right. I had everything connected correctly, and I didn't know why I was getting no power, or I wasn't getting any feedback to my subwoofer. So, of course, my gain was turned all the way down on my radio. So if you're getting power and no sound is coming out, learn from my mistake and don't spend 2 hours trying to figure it out. Turn your stuff up on your radio, because that could save you some time and hassle. So after everything is hooked up, it should work. Also, another thing that I plan on doing is I'm going to be plasti dipping my Style 65 wheels. Probably within the next 2 weeks. I got to order from dipyourcar.com a wheel kit. I think I'm gonna do I'm probably just gonna do the gloss black. Don't really want to get too crazy with that. But also what I'm gonna be doing probably on Monday while I'm changing my oil is going to remove these plastic pieces and plastic dip those black. It'll kind of give it that, you know, it'll just kind of make it pop more. Alrighty guys, so again, please like and subscribe. Show me your support so I can keep coming out with new content with you guys. Let me know what you guys want to see on the E39. If you guys have any questions, maybe I can help you out, maybe I can't. Never hurts to try. So again, I will see you guys later.